are going to move on our Tinder series and actually start working on the user profile, so image, name, phone number, everything. So we are going to learn it all today. It is going to be really similar to what we did in the Uber series, and yeah, so I'll go to try to go as fast as possible to explain to you as fast as possible. So first of all, I'm going to explain to you the database organization, and we are just going to add everything below. So inside here we are going to have the phone number, the name, what else? Yeah, I believe that's it. And then we are going to have a profile image URL, which we are going to save using the storage function on the Firebase API. So yeah, it is really simple. Let's get right on with it and grab the Tinder project. So here we are. It is where we left off last time. So the first thing we are going to do is go inside the build Gradle, and we are going to add the following line, which is the storage dependency for Firebase, and it is this line right here, so please copy that. It is in the Firebase documentation, so I'll link it down below so you can check it out. And yeah, let's get right on with it. Okay, so Gradle is running, and in the meantime you can go inside activity main and add the button for the settings menu. So button, settings, on click it does, go to settings, and let's create that function, create. Okay, and it is created. And now we are going to quickly add a new activity. So it can be an empty activity, settings, activity, and I'm calling it settings, but you can call it whatever you want. It really isn't that important. And now you can grab this from the logout user and grab that. Just make sure to remove finish, because you don't want to close the activity, the current activity, and change it to settings activity, or the name of your activity that you've just created. Okay, so that's it. We can close the main activity in the activity main, because we won't be using it any longer. And let me just check one thing. Okay, and now we can just change this to linear layout, which is easier in my opinion to work with. Set the orientation to vertical, and now we are going to place one image view and two edit texts. So yeah, first of all, the image view is going to be 100 SP, 100 SP, an ID of profile image, and let me just check what we can use, because I don't believe I have any. Okay, I don't have any default image, so I'll just use the launcher. It isn't important. If you want anything else, just import it, and it is easier to use. So there we go. You don't need anything else. Let's just set the padding to 20 of the linear layout to make it look better. Okay. And now let's start. Actually, no, let's just put the margin bottom to 20 SP. And now let's create the edit texts. So edit texts will be match parent and height wrap content. The ID will be name. The background, I always set it to no, because I don't like the line that appears in the bottom. So okay, we are going to use an int, which is a text that appears slightly more discolored and that you don't have to erase. It is just to tell the user what's that edit text is used for. So margin bottom again 20 SP, and you can just copy and paste this to create the phone and int phone. And we are going to use the input type that we can use with edit text, so that the user is only allowed to input numbers. So phone, okay. And now we are going to finally add the buttons, the confirm and back button. Button, match parents, wrap content, and here it is match parents. And the ID, the first ID will be confirm. And I'll just create another one for the back button. Back. Okay, and now let's go into the fun part of importing all of these inside the settings activity, which I always love doing. So yeah, let's go ahead and create the edit text first, and name field, and m phone field. Button and back and confirm. And we must import all these libraries. Just click Alt Enter Import Class and it will take care of it for you. Then private and profile image of the type image view. And now we'll need the variables for to save the profile image URL to the database. So first of all, we are going to need the mauth to get the current user ID. So Firebase auth fire and auth and the database reference. So private database reference and customer database. Private string, and now will be the names of everything. So user ID, the text name, phone, and profile image URL. Okay, and we can go ahead and add the URI, and you will see it in a second. I'm just adding all the variables so that you don't have to worry about them later down the line. So yeah, make sure you have all of these variables in your application. And now let's start doing the find view by IDs. So yeah, and name field equals to edit text find view by ID r.id.name. Can copy and paste that for the m phone field. M phone field. Phone. Now for the image view. What's the name that I gave it? Profile. Okay, it was a misspelled word. Profile image. Now the buttons, and we are almost done with it. confirm button, and that's it. Okay, so now we are going to get the database reference for the user child. So in this case, it's for this user, male user, it is UJ16 whatever. You are going to get the reference for it, and to do that we first need to get the user, how can I say, ID. I was forgetting that. So to get the user ID, we've done it before and we'll do it again. Simply say mauth.getInstance and then user ID equals to mauth.getCurrentUser.getUID. It's always the same thing. And now for the customer database, customer, oh, misspelled there, and customer database is equal to Firebase database.getInstance.getReference.child users .child customers. If you have capital letters, don't forget to put them, otherwise it will do nothing basically that we want. So that's a common error, make sure you don't do it. And finally set child user ID. Okay, so yeah, we can go ahead and start saving information to the database, which is what we want. And let's start with the confirm button. Set on click listener, new on click listener, and we are going to create a function called save user information. That way we don't have everything inside the same function, inside onCreate. That doesn't look pretty and it is hard to comprehend. So let's create this function right here. And in this function we'll have everything that has to do with saving the information. So first of all, we need to get the names and the phone. So name equals to mName field dot get text dot toString, and do exactly the same thing for the phone. And phone field, and the phone, even though it is numbers, we are going to save it as strings and not as integers. And phone field, okay. And now to save it, we simply do map. And I don't know if we've already used this way, but it is really simple. Just copy and you'll see what it does in a second. So hash map user info dot put name, the variable name, and user info dot put phone and phone. And let me just check one thing. Yeah, it is called name, so no worries on that, because we already create the variable name at the moment of registration, if you don't miss it, if you remember that. So yeah, now you can go ahead and just save it to the end customer database. So update children user info. Okay, now that is all said and done. So before taking care of the image, I'm actually going to how we are going to do this. Okay, first we are going to get the user info. So this is all done with, and we can, it is working for now, the part of the text. The part of the image takes a bit more effort. So first of all, I'm going to show you how you can display this information, which is also a very important part. So below the mCustomer database, say get user info, and we are going to create that function. get user info. Oh, it isn't letting me, so no worries, let's just create it manually. Okay, and in here we are going to make a listener to check for the current user information. So, and customer database dot add listener for single event value, for single value event, new value event listener. And I'm going to use the single value event because you don't need to be always checking. You only need in the beginning for it to check, and then that's over and done with. So yeah. So now say if data snapshot dot exists and data snapshot dot get children count bigger than 0. This is just a double check. You don't need to go this deep because you'll always have something inside this child, but just to make it a bit more secure, let's use it. And now just it is the old the same old syntax. So object map equals to map string object data snapshot dot get value. That's done. And now we are going to grab the information. So to grab the information, you simply say map dot get, and now you get the child that you want. So in this case, we are going to get first the name. So get name different from no. So if this exists, and it is a different here, if this exists, then you can go ahead and populate the mname field with this name. So okay, simply say mname field dot set text to actually let's use the string that you used before, because you may use it for something, I don't know. So if you want, you'll have it. Get name dot to string and set text to name. Now copy and paste that and do the same thing for the phone. Just make sure to change all the variables and names that you need to change. Phone, okay, so it is done. Now all you have to do is to get the image, and yeah, you can go from there. So yeah, let's first of all go into the Android manifest. And we are going to add this permission. I'm just going to grab it, and you can copy and paste that, which is read external storage, so that we have access to all the images that the user has. And yeah, just make sure you copy that. Can then close it. You won't be needing it anymore. And now we are going to go up top and do where we're going to, okay, we are going to do a click listener for the M profile image. So every time the user clicks this image, he'll be taken to his personal gallery in order for him or her to pick a picture. So set on click listener, new on click listener, and on click we are going to create an intent. Import class, we are going to create an intent. So new intent dot action, and the intent is what allows us to go outside the app and to tell the phone that we need something that's not from the app itself. It is from other features of the phone, so in this case the gallery. And you'll set intent dot set type to the type of file that we want. So in this case we want the image, an image. So just say that and put this here. And now we are going to say start activity, and this will trigger this intent to evolve and to actually do something. And it is not only start activity, it is start activity for result. So you want something out of it, and say intent, comma 1. And this 1 is the number that will be always attached to this intent. So anytime you make this intent run, this 1 will be always there. And that's important because the way we get the image from this intent is generalized for every intent. So this is what characterizes it and tells us that the result that we get from any intent is this one. And it will be clear in a second, and we are going to scroll down and actually create the function that gets the result from that intent. So that is called onActivityResults, and it will create a bunch of things for you. And now say if request code equals to 1, so if the intent that we receive from this onActivityResults is this one, and results code equals to activity dot results okay, so it was successful, then we can go ahead and get the URI from whatever we got. So image URI equals to data dot get data, and now we can populate the result URI with the image URI, and the URI is basically the location of the image within the phone. So now we can set this image to the profile image, so can use the function set image URI for that. Does everything that we need, and result URI, and that's it. Now if you have any other intent, so I don't know, if you want to go into the browser or whatever, then you would have different request codes for it, and that way you would be able to zero in on it and know exactly what you got from it. Okay, so it is really important. And now let's actually learn how we can save this image inside the storage area. And the storage area works as your computer does with the folders, and you have folders and you can create as much folders as you like, and then upload files to it. So yeah, that makes it really simple for us. And so now, after we've done this, we are going to create to do an if results URI different from null, which is the same. It's like, okay, so you may have changed your image, but if you didn't, then it is done here and you don't need to do anything else. But if you did, then you're going to upload it to the storage. So else we can just say finish and close the application and close this activity, sorry. And now you are going to say storage reference, which works the same as database reference. Sorry, and say file path equals to Firebase storage dot get instance dot get reference dot shout profile images, and we'll store every image under the profile images, so that way it becomes easier. And then we'll give it a name of user ID, and that way the user will only be allowed to store one image at a time. So as you can see, it is really similar to the database reference and how we get to the images from it. So yeah, just call bitmap and set it bit and give it the name of bitmap, equal it to null. And now we are going to pass the image that we got from the result URI into this bitmap. This is the way that we must do it, otherwise it won't work, I don't believe. So yeah, just copy this code, because it is always the same. Media store dot images dot media dot get bitmap get application dot get content resolver comma result URI. So that the image is location within the phone, and an error will pop up, you'll see. So in order to resolve it, simply click Alt Enter and say surround with try and catch. So this is just, if an exception is thrown, then it won't work, and it is just a safety net for any errors. Okay, so now we are going to compress the image a bit, just to make it shorter, smaller, sorry, and say new byte array output stream. And this code is always the same, so you'll be able to use it for any image that you might want to save. And it is quite simple, but it has a lot of things that you need to go through. So yeah, bitmap compress format, and we are going to compress it in JPEG with a coefficient of with a quality of 20. I believe that's a good trade-off. And browse again, and then pass it to a byte variable, and that way you can save it to the storage with no problem. So browse dot to byte array. And now we are going to use something that's called an upload task, and this upload task is what tries to upload the actual file to the cloud, and we can add a couple of listeners to it to make sure that it was either successful or not. So yeah, it is really well done. So just say upload task equals to file path dot put bytes data. And now simply say upload task dot add on failure listener and new on failure listener, and on failure I'm just going to say finish. You can do whatever you like, but to keep it simple I'm going to say this and be over and done with. So then we can add, we need to add the on success listener. So upload task dot add on success listener new on success listener, and in here we are going to grab the URL from the profile image that was just saved, and that URL is what allows us to get the image from the internet in the future, from the cloud in the future. So yeah, and we can get it really simply by doing URI download URL equals to task snapshot dot get download URL. And now we are going to save this URL to the database just as we did up top. So we can actually grab it, and instead of name just call it profile image URL and give it the name download URL. And after that we can go ahead and finish this activity because we don't need anything else. Return the error Okay, let's remove the spaces. And now all that's left is to actually show the image at the moment of opening this settings activity. And we can do that quite easily because we now have the URL stored within the database. And all we need to do is to grab this name, profile image URL, profile image URL, and now we are going to use, and I don't know if we have this, let me just try one thing. Okay, so we've never used, I believed we have, but okay, that's quite simple to correct. So going to our projects and going to build Gradle, and now we are going to use a tool called Glide. Glide is what allows us to get the image from an URL quite simply and then store it in cache inside our phone, so that we don't have to be always be downloading images from the internet, which costs data and time most precisely. So we are going to grab this dependency, which I have right here, the GitHub bump tag glide 4.0.0, and go ahead and sync that now. And I didn't add it earlier because I believed we already did this, but it turns out it didn't. I have the link for Glide down below in the description section, so you can go check them out if you want. They did a tremendous job on this. And now we can simply call glide.with get application dot load get application is before after that, so load profile image URL, so the link that we got from it, and you just say into wherever image view we are using, so in this case profile image, and that should load the image into the profile image. So it is a really good API for you to use. And yeah, that's all said and done with, and let's just test the app and see if everything checks out. Okay guys, so I ran the app and noticed that I made one stupid mistake, which is the database reference. It isn't customers in here. And I made this mistake because I was basing this code on our Uber series, and I forgot that in here it isn't customers, it is the sex of the user. And so to fix that, we are going to pass the user sex from the main activity to this settings activity, and you'll learn something in the meantime on how to use extras on intents. So let's go into where we click the settings button. Where is it? Oh, it is in the last thing. Okay, and before start intent, we are going to do intent dot put extra, and now let's give it the name of user sex and user sex as a variable. Okay, so this is what we need to pass a variable from this intent to another. You could also use a list view to do this, but I think this way looks prettier. So let's go in here, and right up top we can say string user sex equals to get intent dot get extras dot get string and the name that we gave in the main activity, so this user sex. And now we simply grab this and move it inside customers. Okay, and now I'm actually going to do another thing which I noticed, which is the back button isn't working because we didn't do the set on click listener. I'm back, set on click listener, new on click listener, and finish. As simple as that. Return, And I remember one more thing, which is to go inside here where we do the upload task, and in the download URL set the download to string. Another thing, which is the button that's not, and I'll show you in a second. Oh, it is there. Okay, if this would load, it will be much easier. Oh, actually it isn't here. It is on the main activity, I'm sorry. Going to activity main. And as you can see, the logout button is on top of the settings button, sorry. And yeah, in order to fix this, but I'm going to remove this constraint layout. I don't like it. I never did and I never will, because I don't understand it. So let me just change it to a linear layout. It will be bare vertical, and if it is vertical it should be then there. And now in a linear layout, this with match parents and height match wrap contents. Now grab the buttons and put them inside here. Orientation horizontal, obviously. And now I'm actually going to set this weight to 1 and make it fill up the other part, so it looks nice, and it should be fine. So yeah, let's run the app and see if everything checks out. Okay, so let's log in. And the layout looks nice. Now there's not any cards because we don't have any user to put in there. But let's go into the settings, and mail's name appears. That's all. That's positive. So let's save a number and choose a picture. I have an image here, which I'm going to choose. Okay, it confirmed, and it saved successfully. So let's go into settings again to see if okay, it is done. So the back button works, everything works just fine. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you are enjoying this series. So next up we are going to, I don't know actually. First we'll probably display the image of the users and the name and everything on the cards itself. So yeah, we'll probably do that. And next we'll show the connections in a pretty list. So yeah, that's all for today. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope to see you again tomorrow.